introduction. First of all, it's awesome to be back, and I remember sitting right here in the auditorium when it was Exceptionalities Day back when I was in the 7th grade. And Ryan Martin was the speaker. He was a wheelchair basketball player. He had a spinal disc. He's actually here today, so you guys, some of you will get to meet him today, get to hear his story. So that was really cool seeing that. And well, first of all, let me ask you guys, how many of you are ready for summer break? It doesn't really sound like you guys are ready. How many of you are ready for summer break? Now that's better. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name's Devin, and I graduated Polson Middle School in 2012. And just like Mr. Anderson said, I left for a little bit of period between just before graduation, 8th grade graduation. I said I actually moved down to North Carolina to pursue racing. And so I graduated from Daniel this year, and I'll actually be walking the stage June 10th. I graduated a semester early, so was actually really kind of lucky to do that because I've had a lot of things pop up in between that semester to where I wouldn't have been able to go to school. So it's really freed up a lot of time for me. And I am a professional race car driver right now, racing a late model in the American Canadian Tour. And I'm also autistic. I have Asperger's syndrome. I'm on the spectrum. So that's why I'm here talking to you guys today. So I'm not here, unfortunately, just to talk about racing. I do have some cool stories I will tell you guys and some videos that you guys get to see. So, but as my teachers know, if I were to talk about racing, I could do that for hours on end and I'd take up all your time. So, Ms. Proctor, Ms. Nadu, Mr. Henderson, they all had me come over here. They had me speak in front of you guys to kind of tell them my story, so I hope it inspires you guys, and hopefully you guys can go out and chase what you guys want to do, because that's what I've been doing, and it can happen. So, my life living with Asperger's syndrome. First of all, here's some statistics. 1 in 68 people are affected by ASD, and 1 in 48 boys are affected by ASD. So it's becoming more and more common. I remember back when it was like 1 in 88. So it's kind of unfortunate, but it is becoming more and more common as the future grows. And a lot of famous people actually have ASD. And some of those names, you got Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, Bill Gates, and Abraham Lincoln. They were actually all on the spectrum. So, and you all know probably what all 4 of those have done. They've done amazing things for the world and have changed the way we see the world. So I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome in the 3rd grade. I look normal, but I think completely different. And when I was younger, I was a collector of just about everything. Sharpie markers, soda cans. Oh, and I know you all are learning about OCD. Could not have a single dent in it, and it could not be opened. It did not count. And I also love bowling. I was a lead bowler from 5 to about 16, 17 years old. And I actually bowled my first perfect game in 7th grade. So, and I still like to play. I just don't get to do it nearly as often, with the racing schedule and everything. And a big thing is, when I can get pretty anxious sometimes. So when that happens, I'll just kind of go away to a place where nobody's around. I'll just pace just kind of calm down a little bit, and then I'll come back and it's like, okay, good. So that's just kind of one of the perks of having Asperger's syndrome. I deal with truth and facts, and so don't tell me anything that's not legit. And a perfect example of that is I am terrified of needles. So shots and stuff like that terrify me. So if it's gonna hurt, just tell me it's gonna hurt. You're better off. Started racing karts in the 3rd grade, and I literally had to ask my parents for 4 years straight, from about 5 to 9 years old, and I just would not stop until we eventually moved to Connecticut. I actually picked up my first kart and I started racing. And my doctor did not think it was a good idea. Doctor, social worker, and I was just diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, and I'm here wanting to go start racing. So she did not think it was a great idea for me to jump into a race car. But we did it anyway. Started racing the Wild Thing Kart Series at Stafford Motor Speedway over in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. And the number one struggle when I first started, it happened for about 6 years until I really started kind of just okay, loud noises. And if you guys have studied, people with ASD, loud noises bother me bad, especially surprise loud noises. So it was something I had to get used to. Race cars are loud, very loud, and just once, it just took a few years for me to get used to it. It wasn't so much being inside the car that bothered me. It was, outside cars, sudden fire-ups, sudden rev-ups. That's what really kind of got me, was when I was in the pits. So, and this is just a few tips of advice, before we get into the videos. And no matter what you have, whether you're just, a normal kid sitting down here in the auditorium watching, or you have ASD, dyslexia, or whatever, you gotta find your passion. You gotta find what you love to do. Because one thing I'm gonna tell you guys, and this is one thing I learned senior year, you work an average of 86,000 hours in your life, from the moment you graduate high school to when you retire. You gotta find what you love, because let's face it, if you're working 86,000 hours doing something you cannot stand, it's going to be a long 86,000 hours. So I found that I love racing. That's what I started to pursue. And once I put a helmet on my head, everything shuts out completely. It's like nothing's going on. I get into like this hyper-focus mode. And I have some drivers that are like some of my friends, and they'll joke about it and stuff like that. But it's done me way more good than it has bad. So, and that's just been ever since I was a young age, ever since I was 3rd grade. Put a helmet on, in the car, strapped in, hyper-focus, that's it. Go, let's get the job done. So this is what I do. This is just a little video of what I do with my life. So that's a little intro video. What you saw there, that's the late model. As you can tell, full-size stock car. It's just basically what you see on a NASCAR on Sunday on TV, just a little bit lower to the ground or a little less horsepower. So, and this is the story of how I got to where I am. This is my first car. Picked it up 3rd grade, 2007, and it had a lot of problems. And just to kind of get into a little bit of detail, it was 15 years old. It was sitting in a guy's garage for 3 years, just completely wearing away. Every nut and bolt on it. It was not good. But that was what was available, so we bought it. And somehow I took this junker car and put it in victory lane, my 4th race ever.
O'Connell, gotta love that. 10-car lead with a green flag waving. Man, Richards is gonna try catching him. That's a hard thing to do with only 2 to go. White flag, white flag. So the white flag is out. There's one more lap to go. The 43 of Devin O'Connell is in the limousine. Matt Richards reels him in just a little bit going down that stretch. What can he do to the turn 3? He's caught him. Catching him and passing him are 2 different things. For the checkered flag, Devin O'Connell wins this. Followed by Matt Richards.
So that was my first ever win back in 3rd grade, and like I said, I think it was a hunk of junk, and I still don't know to this day how I pulled that off. But then I moved up into the advanced class, the Tiger Sprint A class, and advanced class, better driver, so we had to get all brand new stuff. So this is what my car looked like for the 2008 season. As you can tell, a lot cleaner, a lot newer. And these carts do about 50 at Stafford, so I mean, that's still pretty quick for a 9, 10-year-old kid just getting into it. And they race at Stafford Speedway Monday nights, and then there was a few tracks in New Hampshire that ran. And we would go and just run a couple shows there every year. And I made a lot of friends at the racetrack. It was kind of my social outlet, because when I was in school, I was that one kid who absolutely loved racing, and that's really all I knew. So when I went to the track, everybody loves racing. I got along very well with people out there, and it was, kind of that social confidence booster, to where it's like, okay, I actually have some friends now. So after 2 years in the advanced class, had about 15 wins within 2008-2009 season in the Tiger Sprint. We moved up another class, and this is called the Junior Outlaw cart. And basically, same type of deal, a little bit bigger cart, a little bit bigger motor, a little bit quicker. Did about 65. And I absolutely loved racing. And it was very hard for my teachers to get me off of any other subject. So thankfully, most of them let me base the open projects around racing. Thanks, Ms. Procaccini. But the obsession really kind of made it hard for me to talk about everything else. I mean, even to this day, it's kind of really all I know. It's what I love to do. But, and kids really wouldn't believe me. Like, I would tell stories about, a crash that happened, or I won this big regional race or something like that. They wouldn't believe me. It's like, are you really what you say you are? So it made my social life in school really difficult. And that's when my dad helped me make the crash video. If you're wondering if you're about to see some of that, yes you are. Alright, so there's a lot more to that, but I'm on a time limit, so I can only show you so much. But don't worry, there's more videos. And so with Asperger's, most kids you see with Asperger's have that one crazy skill, whether they're crazy good at an instrument or unreal math skills that you've never seen before. And mine was racing. In school, I had learning issues. I could not focus in school at all from the day I started kindergarten to after even senior year. It was very difficult for me to focus in school at all. And but for some odd reason, I had insane memorization skills, and that's what kind of helps me with a race car, because I could hyper focus in a race car, and I can literally go and look at a racetrack. Other drivers have to actually get some laps around a racetrack. All I have to do is pull it up on Google Maps or YouTube, and then look at it, look at the shape of it, see the banking. I've already got it down. So, and all this memorization was first noticed when I knew my ABCs when I was like a year and a half, 2 years old. And, as my parents, what 3-year-old hasn't had story time? I memorized every single book that I read. And my parents thought, he's 3 years old and he can read. Yeah, no, I was just memorizing everything. So, and later I was able to memorize, every racetrack. I knew, where I needed to put, and this is going 100-something mile an hour, where I needed to put this tire at this point, at this square inch on the racetrack. And when I mean, it's that much of a difference. So that really kind of paid off when it came to that, moving up and winning races. So 7th grade, your age, it was time for something bigger. So I moved into an Allison Legacy car, which is a 3/4 scale NASCAR Sprint Cup car. Runs on, a little 4-cylinder engine, about 100 horsepower. I raced Allison Legacy North Series. up all around New England. And these cars, if you top them out, you get like a really long straightaway. They could do 100, 120 mile an hour. And I was also able to interact with fans more. Bigger car, more pit parties. So that's the car in the 7th grade. So that's also a 7th grade picture. So that's what I looked like when I was your guys' age, sitting in the auditorium watching Ryan Martin. And in the 8th grade, well, let me back up a little bit. In the 7th grade, we started having some really good success in the North season. Figured out how to set the car up. Ended up fighting for wins. Got some top 3s, a lot of top 5s. So we decided, let's go move down to North Carolina. And the difference between Allison Lansing North and South, really, is the competition. And down south, we ran, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Those 3 states primarily. And the competition down south, let's just put it like this. The guy who won the championship the first year I was down there is right now racing in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, is actually fighting for the championship in that series. So it was a really big deal just to be down there racing against these guys. And that's when I also got my first true driving coach. And I got really, really fortunate because my first driving coach was the legendary NASCAR and Indy truck driver, Donnie Allison. And for those of you who don't know who that is, that's him. He taught me how to drive more than anybody that I've ever come across. I'm sure you got some tidbits from other drivers in higher series that have raced cars. Donnie taught me how to wheel a car. And he taught me one thing. And that was, if you're going into the turn, and your front tires are skidding, you don't back out of the gas, you don't do any of that, you just turn the wheel even more. And most racers say don't ever do that, you gotta lift a little bit more, but that's not. But he just said, keep your foot in it, turn more. And you can actually apply that to your own life. Things get difficult, let's just say cars not handling well, or there's something in life that's just kind of wishy-washy, it's just not going well. Just put more wheel into it. Try harder. If you're chasing something that looks like it's falling apart, just try it harder. So winning has its perks. Plenty of trophy girls. That was fun. And in 2014, we ended up winning the Allison Lansing title down south. Won the 2014 Sportsmanship Award, had a record of 10 out of 16 races won. So we had a really successful season down there. And after that, we won the championship down there. We moved up to another class. And that's when I started racing Legends cars. We actually moved back up to Connecticut. So I started going to Daniel Hand and started racing a car called a Legends car. And what that is a 5A scale model of early 1930s cars. There's nothing 1930s about these cars. So I ran old track and I started running road courses. And, it's pretty simple difference. Ovals, just, the standard left turn you see on NASCAR road course, that's left and right, about 2 mile track. Not necessarily harder than an oval track, it's just different. So these cars do about 130, 140 mile an hour, and actually on some of these road courses we have straightaways that you do top out at that speed. So I've done 130, 135 on these little mini buggies, and that's pretty sketchy. And this is when my reputation really started going up, because these are very nationally ranked cars. A lot of people know about them, a lot of Sprint Cup drivers have come out of the Legends cars. So we started winning a bunch of it, and that's when my name really started to get out there. So this is a pretty cool photo, because how many of you watch the Olympics? Show me some hands. So how many of you know who Tyler Clary is, the guy who won the 200-meter backstroke at the London Olympics in 2012? Yeah, not many of you know. Well, that's it. He was an Olympic gold medalist in the 200-meter backstroke, and I was lucky to be able to race him down in Charlotte during the 2014 season while I was still running a legacy car, just getting into them. So that was really cool. And my first full-time year of racing the Legends cars, we had insanely, just a dominant year. Like I said, a lot of it was Google Maps and YouTube. Had to learn tracks I'd never seen before. But I had the capability where I didn't have to run 150 laps before I ever knew the line of the track. I really just had to look at it, and I had it down. And I'm the first person to sweep the Road Course World Championship, Oval National Championship, sweep both the Nationals race and the Road Course World Finals race in U.S. Legends Cars' 23-year history. We won. We did 92 races, won 42 of them. This is when my professional exposure just went through the roof. I started getting offers for rides, any car you can imagine. And everything was just coming true. I was on the right track to, go where I want to be. And now, we're going to get into a few videos. You guys get to see the good, the bad, the ugly side of racing. So let's play a few of these. So this is my first race I won on national television. And this is actually back my first year part-time season racing Legends cars. And this is down at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the race NASCAR Sprint Cup races here. And this is my 8th race ever in the car, and this race pretty much put me on the map to where it was like, whoa, who is this kid? Oh, and forget my post-race interview, it's terrible.
What a thriller here in the Jack in the Box Summer Shootout Series, and Devin going to victory lane here tonight.
Devin, your first summer shootout victory. How did you make that pass to get up front?
I saw all three of those cars. They bumped just a little bit. It was just enough to get me up front, and Sean gave me a heck of a run for his money. And I love racing with them. Yeah, we got into each other. Not just racing. Can't thank 860 Motorsports enough for giving me just this awesome car. Can't thank the Keynote Hotel for just funding this car every week. I'm in pretty disbelief right now. Can't thank my dad for letting me come out here every Tuesday or Monday, depending on what weekend it is, to come out here and race. Wow, that was I had to work for that one. I can't. I'm at a loss for words at this point.
Well, congratulations. Those are the words we're going to say, Devin, and we'll say to you, stay with us. We'll be back for more of the Jack in the Box Summer Shootout Series from right here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
So as you can tell, not the world's best interview. I still cringe when I watch it. I really can't watch it. It was god awful. But just kind of imagine you just won. Act like you're in my shoes here. You're right now. You just won your first national legend race. You're just starting out in it. You've impressed yourself. Never mind, just put your name on the map. You go and pull in the victory lane. You get out of the race car. They stick a hat on your head. You got a camera in front of your face. Hey, be ready to be interviewed on national television. No pressure. So now in racing. Sometimes you don't win, obviously, and sometimes it's because stuff like this happens. It can get pretty hot. Notice that clue word. So to anybody who has had that urgent question, have you ever been on fire? The answer is yes. Also, it can get a little crazy. As you can tell, we're racing. Wrecks happen. Technical difficulty. So that's just hard racing right there. Actually, that was across the line for the finish. And just everybody, the lead was kind of checked out. We were all kind of back battling for second. And as you can tell, I mean, just racing happens and somebody makes that one little mistake or gets a little aggressive, and then we all end up getting piled up and end up tearing up and stuff. So that car was pretty much destroyed. And now, but when everything comes together, everything's, you got everything on point, you get stuff like this happen to you. This is a video of me winning the championship over at Stafford Motor Speedway. It was the first full season back for the Legends cars in Stafford. And it's actually on the exact same track, that little ring you saw me race the karts on, back when I was, 9, 10, 11 years old. So it was pretty cool to come and win in the Legend car there.
U.S. Legend Car Champion, Devin O'Connor.
I raced Stafford cars here for 5 years, and I really loved the program here. So racing Friday nights it just made sense. It was something totally different, and I loved every second of it. It was awesome.
Final circuit, and it's up to Devin O'Connell to try to put some pressure on Dana DiMatteo as they bust on their way into the third corner. Here comes O'Connell. DiMatteo is holding him off. He moves to the inside, and car number 43 in a squeaker.
Well, Devin O'Connell is getting used to being down here down the victory lane.
Actually, I think one of the best ones I've ever seen is Devin O'Connell pulls it off.
Devin O'Connell makes it his 8th win of the season. Congratulations, Devin.
It's an honor. I mean, quite honestly, you got so many huge names here that have won track championships here. You Ted Christopher, Ryan Preece is coming up through the ranks, just to name a couple. And modified legends such as Ricky Evans. It's just cool knowing that I'm racing on the track that you got such a legend racing on. The fact that I'm able to win the championship here just makes it that much better. The little 5th mile off here it's a boring. It's the smallest track I've ever raced at with the Legends cars. And when it comes to the Legends cars, I personally really love these smaller racetracks. I think they're a blast, especially Stafford. I really love it. So it was very difficult. It was not an easy task. We came into the season just hoping for the best and see if we can, hopefully go for the championship.
As Corey DiMatteo has some giddy up, he goes to the outside, going to the inside, 3 wide. Who will get fried? O'Connell is the winner. He goes from 3rd to 1st.
You just can't get hot-headed. If you get hot-headed, you're not going to work your way back up. You're going to end up losing the race with the spin out more and end up maybe returning your car off. So you just got to get it back. You just got to say, okay, if you're going out there and you're hot-headed and guns blazing, you're going to tear somebody else's car. You're going to tear your own car off. You're going to end up not finishing the race. So that's always my way of looking at it. You got to first finish on your finish first.
White flag is out, 1 lap to go. And it's a Madison machine gun in the final lap. Devin O'Connell looking for his 4th consecutive victory.
Devin O'Connell, your feature winner. Legend cars.
So that one meant a lot, just because in my years of racing cars, I came very close to a championship. I actually never got one. I got second probably, I think 2 or 3 times. So it was something I just kind of had to do. It was like, all right, I have to get a championship at Stafford. So we ended up getting in. That was really, really cool. Now, this is for the world title right here. And it was the last race. It's the last race of the season. You had people all over the world. I had teammates from Sweden, Finland. You had people from South Africa, the UK coming over. So everybody from all over the world comes, and it was actually at my home road course. So this one was just kind of one we've been gunning for all year, and we didn't expect to be anywhere close to being able to win the world championship, and we ended up being able to fight for the title. And well, here's the video that kind of describes that last World Finals race.
Connecticut's Devin O'Connell clinched a semi-pro world championship in the U.S. Legends Road Course World Finals presented by Sunoco Race Fuels on Sunday. The title capped off a very successful season, his first racing at NHMS.
Oh, it's so cool. We set out here to go and win the race and win the world championship, and
with the road course points working a little bit differently, to max out, you had to win this race. We set out here, we had an awesome race with Jordan. There was we switched the lead probably 5, 6, 7, 8 times during the race, and none of us could get away from each other.
The final race featured a back-and-forth battle for the win between O'Connell and second place finishing Jordan O'Brien from Maine, who also finished second in the world standings.
So again, time limit. So that's just kind of a general idea. So that's what took home the world title for me. That was really cool because I think the second was from Maine, and I think third was the Finnish driver. So that was really neat being able to win that one. And then this is probably the biggest win of my life, and it's the nationals that they hold every year. It's at the track anywhere in the U.S. 2 years ago it was at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This one here is at Anderson Speedway in South Carolina, the one I won. And actually this year they're being held over in Waterford, Connecticut, only about 20 minutes down the road. So this was the biggest win of my life because this is the one that everybody really looks forward to run and really wants to win. And we were known as that kind of local Connecticut kid driver, and we didn't just win this race, we flat out dominated it. So here's this.
I'll tell you what, man, this was Devin, all runner tonight in the semi-pro division. And to be in the cars that long, how do you keep your mental stability in there just driving around, man?
You know, that's the hardest thing to do as a driver is keep your mental stability being in the car that long. And I really don't know how I did it. This was, one of the best races I personally think I've ran. And I can't believe it. We won the World Finals race. We swept it with this. We didn't go to the Dirt Nationals, unfortunately, but I can't believe it. Thanks, Anderson Speedway, for having us. My dad, we've done 90 races together this year. Most of I could ever imagine. I can't thank you enough for everything, man. I'm speechless. There's nothing in the world I can pay back for what you've done. CJ Dario, 86 on motorsports. Justin, Ed, you did it. Mom, Riley, I'm speechless right now.
Is there anything you'd like to say to all the people watching worldwide on Speed 51 right now?
Dreams come true. Simple as that. They can come true no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you gotta do to chase it. They can come true, and I'm proof tonight.
All right, guys, once again, your winner tonight in the semi-pro division. Big round of applause for Devin O'Connell.
And just like you said, we were in the car for a long time. It was probably about 80 degrees, and with South Carolina humidity, it made it feel like it was about 110. So, just with the racing going on, you had 30-something cars out on the racetrack. There was a lot of wrecks. So we were in the car for probably 2.5 hours. So it was pretty insane. Now, this is a cool award. A lot of big drivers have won this award, and one of those, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this guy, is Dale Earnhardt. He was a recipient of this award back in, I think, the 80s. So, it's called the Bill Steen Madonna Award. And there's 3 primary things you need in order to win this. You have to win in a big American racing series. You have to display sportsmanship and character on and off the racetrack. And someone who has a desire to win and has overcome adversity. And just with, my story overcoming ASD, and the fact that we had, as domino of the years, we had won 6 championships in one season, 42 wins. We ended up getting this award, and honestly, I didn't even expect it. So, being able to get that was really cool, especially having a guy like Dale Earnhardt who's won it, who's, he's probably the best racer who's ever existed in NASCAR. So that was really, really cool. So 2016, it's been pretty busy. This past season, I was named one of the top short track racers on the Speed 51 short track draft, which is basically like a NFL football draft, except racing. So we actually went down to Daytona International Speedway, for the ARCA test there. And what an ARCA car is basically a NASCAR car with about 50 less horsepower. So we did about 48. I did about 48 laps down there, averaged about 186 mile an hour. And going around that was pretty insane because the biggest track I've run on that, with the exception of road courses, was a half mile. And this track is 2.5 miles. And instead of going, maybe 100 at most on oval, I was doing upwards of 200. So, and now I drive for House for Motorsports with the American Canadian Tour late model. And this is Daytona. So there's a little short clip of me testing the car out there. So that's that. That's, just a couple clips. We weren't really able to take too many videos. They were able to kind of sneak a couple of them, sell them. But it was really cool kind of being able to go down there. I mean, they're one of the top teams in ARCA. They invited me to go down there. And they wanted me to drive the late model for a while. We just couldn't really do it. We didn't really have the means to be able to do it. And they invited me down and said, you know what? Jump in one of our ARCA cars and I want to see you around Daytona. So that was wild. And I guess I can describe a little bit what that's like, because I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what it's like going 200 mile an hour. And one thing Donnie Allison, we were all just, a bunch of the drivers just kind of swarmed around and listened to some of his stories. I asked him, what's it like going 200 mile an hour around Daytona or Talladega? And he said it's like driving on the highway until something goes wrong. And to be honest, that's pretty much exactly what it's like until the spotter told me, the guy who was on the radio with me, told me, go right next to the outside wall. And then physics and science and all that fun stuff that you learned in 7th grade, that all took into effect. And then you just kind of felt it happen. And you feel like you're almost going to hit the wall. And then once, everything, all that science kind of takes into place, it catches you on the wall right like a railroad track. So it was really, really neat to kind of feel that. And then we had to start pack drafting all that. And if you've ever watched Daytona 500, they're all really, really packed in together. And that's something specific for just Daytona and Talladega. You got to be in that pack, drafted and swarming around cars, and that's actually a lot harder to do with the air moving on the car and stuff. It really, one wrong move, and it sparks, 10, 15 car wreck and tears up a lot of stuff. So that was pretty interesting to learn how to do that, but we ended up getting approved so I can do any RV race at any track that they race at, so that was really awesome to get. This is actually from my hero car, and this is my life. This is what I'm doing. That's the car I'm currently racing. And we struggled a little bit in the first 5 races I've done, and it just had a little bad one. Just withdrawing, keep racing, qualifying race start, and it's caused us to where we've been able to start no better than 21st. So we're hoping we can change that luck around a little bit to where we can start up front a little bit, and I can actually chase a win and not burn up my stuff in 30 laps. So this is kind of a short video. This is of what the American Canadian Tour is like and what I'm racing. So that's a little bit of that. So as you can tell, they literally look like NASCAR cars, just less horsepower. So and a lot shorter track. Oh, this is another really cool thing I got asked to do. This was over at New Hampshire Motor Speedway where I won the world title at. And if you guys don't know, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, they hold 2 cup races, NASCAR Sprint Cup races there a year. And so it was a pretty big deal that I'm kind of like known within that racetrack. It's really, really cool. And I got asked to go, I got invited to go check out the Formula Highway. Basically what this is a bunch of universities around the world build these Formula One looking race cars. Or not even race cars, just cars. And they have to be either a hybrid car or an electric car. And they have to, build it themselves from the ground up, from the bare steel tubing into, full-blown race cars. And all the stuff that they used, I mean, I figured it would be, cheap part this, cheap part that. And I'm looking at these cars, I'm like, wow, they've got some really high-tech parts on these things. So here's a little video of that. It was really, really neat.
Just looking at some of these cars and the technologies that they're using inside of them, it's really, really cool. These kids are not slouchy. These universities are not backing out on any of their equipment. So it's really neat to see what these cars have in them and just how much work these guys put into it. It was just so medieval, and it was just something I'd never seen before. So, and the fact that they let me kind of pull the trigger on that, I got to see a 450-pound water bucket fly about 500, 600, 700 feet. So that was just so cool. That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys doing that. Now I can say that I burned down a cup car, and hopefully I get to do that time. Last time I'll be able to do it. Maybe one day I'll be in the Victory Lane in the Cup Series. I'll be able to burn down my own cup car.
What's going on, everybody? Devin O'Connell here. I am right now in the New Hampshire Motor Speedway show car, breakup car, and we're going to do a few burnouts right here in the line. I'm going to have Gavin, he's going to hold the camera, he's going to be riding it along. This is going to be a blast. You guys are going to love this.
So yeah, I got to do that. They literally just pulled out of the trailer. Said, all right, jump in. You're gonna do a burnout. Okay, that's awesome. So now this is the speaking gig I did actually down at Dover National Speedway for the Cup race down there. And this was really cool because they kind of invited me down for the same reason I got here. I put a video up online, kind of sharing my story, and it went borderline viral. Borderline. So but this company, Nature's Bakery, ended up seeing it. They invited me down to go speak just because the race was the AAA 400 Drive for Autism. And they host it every year because I think the general manager of the track has a son with autism, so he loves doing this race and really helping out with autism and really making a deal out of it. So I got to go speak, and I also got to hang out with her. Y'all know who that is? Who knows who that is? Raise your hands. Want to help you? That's Danica Patrick. She's the only female racer right now in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. So, former IndyCar driver, moved to NASCAR about 5 years ago, I want to say. So, I got invited down with her company. I got to meet her and spend some time with her. I got to see the whole race on top of her pit box. That was really, really neat. So, so this is just kind of to wrap everything up. Number one, be okay with who you are. Don't try to be someone you're not. If you love to do something, even if it's totally wild and crazy that you try to make it, you only, like I said, 86,000 hours. That's a lot of hours. So make sure you're going after what you want to do, no matter what people say, so that way you don't have to live a deadbeat 86,000 hours. You will eventually find a passion, whether you've already found it now. I found mine when I was 5 years old. Whether you find it now or you find it senior year in high school, you got to find your passion. You got to try a bunch of stuff. You got to see what you really love to do. And so don't be scared to try something new because you could end up and really, really enjoying it. Follow your dreams. If you got a dream right now that you want to chase, start now. Start as young as you can because the younger you get started on it, the more you learn at a young age, it's going to help you in the long run. Have respect for others, like I have to do for other racers on the racetrack. If I'm out there wrecking every single car, eventually someone's going to stuff me in the fence and destroy my car. So, just like, have respect for everybody else. If Billy Bob over here is a little bit awkward, but he's really good at something. Hey, here's the kid that might be that genius at math. Oh, guess what? Now he's just invented this cool new soda machine. Oh, Billy Bob's now your boss. He's a billionaire, and you're there on a fixed wage living in a double wide trailer somewhere. So just make sure you have respect for everybody in their differences, because you really don't know who's going to be successful. Now, lastly, the Q&A. So that's the base of my presentation. So who's got any questions? You. Sorry? Not by a big corporate company yet, but I do have a few small sponsors that help me with the late model stuff. Daytona, we averaged 186, that's corners and everything, and I topped out probably at 193. Any more? You. So, that's a good question. That's a little bit of a hard question to answer because I don't know what it's like not to have ASD. So how I think is just totally normal, but I know it's different. So basically, you know how, like I said, I could not focus on school. I could not focus on homework. Like homework would take a 20-minute project back in, or a 20-minute assignment would take 3 hours. But when I really, really love something, I really, really love it. I can get in this complete zone out, hyper focus. Nothing's going on whatsoever. And it can really help me figure out, like I said, whether it's racetrack or car, stuff like that. So anything else, unfortunately, that's a little bit of a difficult question to answer because I really don't know what it's like to not have ASD. That's the goal. I'm trying to get to a ride pretty soon, but it's a lot of money and you have to get with the corporate money in order to even have a chance at it. And I have that too.
Have you ever got hurt?
Once I had at the Winter Nationals in 2015, so the beginning of when I chased that crazy legend season, I got underneath the kid, I was being over aggressive, and I got up to maybe his wheel at most, and his bumper actually hooked onto my wheel, and it ripped the steering wheel so hard out of my hand, it actually dislocated my shoulder, and I could not move my arm at all, so in result, I hit head first into the concrete. And after that hit head first into the concrete, knocked my shoulder back into place. Pulled the backup car out, raced the next day.